The year is 1848, Europe is ablaze. The continent is a cauldron of discontent, with people from all walks of life rising up against oppressive regimes. Revolutions are erupting like fireworks, challenging old hierarchies and demanding change. The streets are filled with the clamor of voices calling for liberty, equality, and fraternity. Amidst this tumult, two German thinkers, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, are scribbling away in the British Museum's library. They are not just chronicling the events, but are also formulating ideas that will shape the future. Their words will ignite a different kind of revolution, one based on ideas rather than barricades. These ideas will spread like wildfire, carried by pamphlets and discussions in smoky taverns and bustling marketplaces. Marx and Engels believed that history was a story of class struggle. They saw the world through the lens of economic forces, where the powerful few dominated the many. They argued that capitalism, for all its innovation, was inherently exploitative. The relentless drive for profit led to the exploitation of workers, who toiled in grim conditions for meager wages. The wealthy few, the bourgeoisie, profited off the labor of the working class, the proletariat. This stark division created a society where wealth and power were concentrated in the hands of a few. This system, they claimed, was unsustainable and would inevitably lead to its own downfall. The contradictions within capitalism would spark a revolution that would overthrow the existing order. In their most famous work, the Communist Manifesto, Marx and Engels issued a rallying cry, "Workers of the world, unite!" This manifesto was a call to arms, urging workers to recognize their collective power. You have nothing to lose but your chains. This powerful message resonated deeply with those who felt the weight of oppression and yearned for a better future. They envisioned a future where the means of production were owned collectively and the fruits of labor were shared equally. This vision was not just about economic change, but also about creating a society based on fairness and cooperation. This, they believed, was the path to a truly just and equitable society. A society where everyone had a stake in the common good and where exploitation was a relic of the past. Their ideas, radical and controversial, resonated with many who felt marginalized and exploited by the Industrial Revolution's rapid changes. The Industrial Age had brought about unprecedented wealth, but also unprecedented inequality. Socialism, as their vision came to be known, offered a powerful critique of the status quo and a tantalizing glimpse of a better world. It promised a society where the fruits of progress were shared by all, not just a privileged few. The seeds of change had been sown. These ideas would grow and evolve, inspiring movements and revolutions across the globe, forever altering the course of history.
Marx and Engels provided the intellectual framework, but it was up to others to translate their ideas into action. Their writings, particularly the Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital, laid the groundwork for a new political ideology that sought to address the inequalities and injustices of the capitalist system. Across Europe, inspired by their writings, workers began to organize. The Industrial Revolution had created a vast working class that toiled in factories under harsh conditions, and these workers were eager for change. Trade unions emerged, fighting for better wages and working conditions. These unions became the backbone of the labor movement, providing a platform for workers to voice their grievances and demand their rights. Socialist parties were formed, contesting elections and demanding political power. These parties sought to represent the interests of the working class and to challenge the dominance of the capitalist elite. The German Social Democratic Party, or SPD, was a shining example of this burgeoning movement. Founded in 1863, the SPD quickly grew in strength and influence, becoming a major political force in Germany. By the early 20th century, it had become the largest socialist party in Europe, boasting a mass membership and elected representatives in parliament. The SPD's success demonstrated the growing appeal of socialist ideas among the working class. The SPD advocated for social reforms, workers' rights, and a gradual transition to a socialist society. They pushed for policies such as universal suffrage, social insurance, and labor protections, which resonated with many workers. In 1889, socialist parties from across the world gathered in Paris, forming the Second International. This organization aimed to unite socialist parties and movements from different countries, fostering international solidarity. This organization aimed to coordinate international worker solidarity. and promote the cause of socialism globally. The Second International provided a forum for socialists to share ideas, strategies and support. The International played a crucial role in popularizing May Day as a day of international worker celebration and protest. May Day became a symbol of the global struggle for workers' rights and social justice. Socialism was no longer a fringe ideology, it had become a powerful force in European politics. The influence of socialist parties extended beyond the ballot box, shaping public discourse and policy. Millions of workers now look to socialist parties to represent their interests and fight for a more just and equitable society. The rise of socialist parties marked a significant shift in the political landscape as the working class began to assert its power and demand a fairer distribution of wealth and resources.
The year 1917 sent shockwaves through the world. It was a year of monumental change, a turning point that would alter the course of history forever. In Russia, the Bolsheviks, a radical socialist faction led by Vladimir Lenin, seized power in what became known as the October Revolution. This was not just a political coup, it was a seismic shift in the social and economic fabric of the nation. They promised peace, land, and bread to a war-weary and impoverished populace. Their vision was to build a socialist state based on the revolutionary ideas of Karl Marx, aiming to dismantle the old order and create a new society where the working class held power. The Russian Revolution had a profound impact on the global socialist movement, dividing it into two distinct camps. On one side were those who supported the Bolsheviks' radical approach, believing that socialism could only be achieved through violent revolution. Lenin and the Bolsheviks were convinced that the establishment of a dictatorship of the proletariat was necessary to achieve true socialism. They saw themselves as the vanguard of the working class, destined to lead the global proletariat to victory. This new communist movement, as they called it, envisioned a worldwide revolution. They believed that their success in Russia was just the beginning, a spark that would ignite the flames of revolution across the globe. However, not all socialists agreed with the Bolsheviks' methods or their ideology. Many were horrified by the violence and authoritarianism that characterized the Bolshevik regime. They believed that socialism should be achieved through democratic means, not through force. These democratic socialists argued for a gradual reform of capitalism from within, advocating for peaceful and democratic methods to achieve social and economic justice. They believed in working within the existing political system to bring about change. This division between communists and democratic socialists would shape the left for decades to come. The ideological rift created in 1917 set the stage for numerous political debates, movements, and conflicts throughout the 20th century, influencing the direction of leftist politics around the world.